The laughter echoed through the house, children running around, adults sipping wine, the smell of baked lasagna still lingering in the air. She watched Alex from the kitchen, his usual polite self, always ready with a charming line for her father, a respectful nod for her mother. But his eyes never lingered on her the way they used to. Not that she needed constant attention, but it stung. He had become practiced in the rhythm of routine, dutiful, dependable, but distant. She wore the blue top he once said made her look stunning. Tonight, no reaction. Not even a glance. She smiled when someone cracked a joke, but her eyes drifted toward Daniel, her cousin from her mother's side, newly returned from Europe. He'd grown. Not just physically, though that was obvious, but in confidence. He had that relaxed charm of someone untouched by responsibility. He talked to everyone with warmth but seemed to return to her side repeatedly. Refilling her wine, asking if she needed help, telling her how he missed home-cooked food like hers. It was harmless. Probably. Still, she felt lighter around him, something she hadn't felt in months. The dishes clattered as the dinner wound down. She and Daniel cleaned up while others lounged in the living room. Alex remained on his phone, some work email apparently urgent even during family night. Daniel noticed. "Always working, huh?" he said softly. She shrugged, trying not to seem affected. "That's just how he is." Daniel smiled. "Well, his loss. You're a knockout tonight." The words came casually, but they settled heavily between them. She chuckled, dismissing it, but couldn't ignore the rush it caused. Later, as she carried dessert plates, she overheard her sister joking that Daniel was a catch. "Too bad he's family," someone teased. Her heart thudded unexpectedly. Was it just playful gossip or something more? She told herself not to think about it. But her eyes found him again, leaning back, laughing easily, occasionally glancing her way. A few seconds longer than necessary. That night, lying beside Alex, she stared at the ceiling. He was already asleep. No kiss goodnight, no arm draped across her. Just soft snores and the glow of his screen left on the nightstand. She thought about how Daniel had listened to her rant about work stress, had actually laughed at her terrible joke, had complimented her cooking like it mattered. She hated herself for comparing. Still she did. And the comparisons weren't kind to Alex. She remembered how her mother used to say marriage needs work. She had worked. For years. Adjusted, forgiven, compromised. But what if one day the cracks stop being hairline and start becoming fault lines? What if one night, someone makes you feel seen in a way you didn't know you missed? She shook the thought away, disgusted by where her mind was going. Still, as sleep dragged her down, she felt the weight of something new. Not guilt. Not yet. But the unmistakable awareness that something had shifted, and she had let it happen. The next morning started like any other, but she noticed herself brushing her hair a little longer, adding a touch of gloss she usually skipped. She told herself it was nothing, just feeling good, maybe. But when Daniel appeared in the hallway, fresh from a shower, towel slung over his shoulder, she felt it again, that nervous flutter she hadn't felt in years. She looked away first. He didn't. Over the next few days, their paths kept crossing. In the kitchen, in the garden, even during errands. Every time, there was something. An inside joke, a shared glance, the way he touched her arm briefly when passing her a dish. It wasn't overt, not inappropriate. But it wasn't innocent either. She caught herself waiting to hear his voice, checking her hair in the mirror before stepping out. When he wasn't around, her attention shifted to the door. When he was, she felt lit up. Alex remained oblivious. More deadlines. More calls. More time on his laptop than beside her. She tried once to initiate something, light touch, suggestive tone, but he muttered something about being tired and turned away. She didn't push. She was tired too. Of trying. Of hoping. Of being invisible in her own marriage. One evening, the kids were outside with their cousins, and Daniel offered to help with laundry. It was mundane, folding towels, stacking shirts, but they laughed through it. He asked her what she wanted from life, what she used to dream about. She said she didn't know anymore. He looked at her, serious this time, and said, "You deserve to remember." That landed hard. No one had said anything like that in years. She told him she used to love painting. he said. You should start again. It sounded so simple. It felt impossible. That night, she found an old sketch pad. Pages untouched. She stared at it, fingers tracing the rough texture. A noise startled her. Daniel was at the doorway, holding 2 mugs. Couldn't sleep either? She nodded. They sat in the kitchen again, quiet at first. Then, the conversation drifted to love, to fear, to everything unspoken. She asked him why he never settled down. He shrugged. Never met someone who made it feel worth it. The way he said it, steady, focused, sent her pulse racing. He stood close to her, not touching, just enough to feel the heat between them. She should have moved, said something, changed the subject. But instead she stared back. Time felt suspended. Then her daughter's cry broke the silence. The moment snapped. He whispered goodnight, and she didn't sleep for hours. The next day, everything felt charged. Even his silence was louder. She told herself it was a line she wouldn't cross. It couldn't happen. She had too much to lose. But in the same breath, she found herself wondering what it would feel like if he kissed her. Not in fantasy, but for real. And the thought didn't scare her. It thrilled her. That was the first real betrayal. Not of Alex, but of herself. Alex left early that morning, suitcase in hand, barely kissing her cheek before stepping out. He said he'd be gone 3 days, back late Sunday. The kids were with her sister for the night, and the house felt hollow. She moved through the evening in silence, watching TV with no real interest, phone untouched beside her. A text came in, Daniel asking if she wanted him to grab anything from the store. She replied no, but her heart picked up. Half an hour later he walked in anyway, holding snacks and a bottle of wine. Didn't think you'd say yes, but I came anyway. She didn't answer, just let him in. They talked casually at first, both sitting with a little too much distance between them. He poured her a glass, and she took it without hesitation. The conversation drifted easily, laughter creeping in, tension slowly dissolving into something unspoken. Her robe slipped slightly as she adjusted her seat. And he looked, just for a second, but enough for her to notice. She didn't pull it tighter. She stood up to put the glass away. He followed her to the kitchen, leaning against the counter as she rinsed out the sink. She felt him behind her before she heard him move. When she turned, he was there, closer than before. He reached up, brushed her hair behind her ear. I shouldn't, he whispered. She didn't say anything, didn't step back, didn't stop him. The kiss was sudden, soft, hesitant at first, then deeper, more urgent. Her mind screamed at her to stop, but her hands gripped his shirt. He pulled her closer, and she let him. It was heat and guilt and want all tangled together, and it didn't stop at the kiss. They didn't speak. There were no words, only rushed movements, fevered breaths, the collapse into what she swore she'd never do. She hated how much she wanted it. Hated how alive she felt. But she didn't stop. After, she sat up quickly, pulling her robe tighter, refusing to meet his eyes. This can't happen again, she said flatly. Daniel nodded but didn't speak. The silence felt louder than anything they'd just done. He left without another word, the door clicking softly behind him. She sat in the dark, numb. Her heart raced, but not from excitement anymore. It was dread now. She checked the time. Midnight. Her husband would call tomorrow. Her kids would come home in the morning. The world would go back to normal. But she wouldn't. She showered, scrubbing hard, but the guilt stayed. She opened her bedroom window for air, unable to breathe. Her phone lit up, a message from Alex. Hope you're getting some rest. Love you. She stared at the screen, fingers trembling. She wanted to cry, but nothing came. She lay down, curled into herself, and for the first time in years, she felt like a stranger in her own bed. Not because of what she did, but because of how easy it had been.